Hi, beautiful listener. This is Heaving Bosoms, the podcast where two romance lovers recap novels and movies with happy endings while forgetting names and worshiping Jane Fonda's wardrobe. If you're in the Chicago area this weekend, don't miss the live episode recording Nat and Sarah are doing at Love's Sweet Arrow. They're celebrating Bookstore Romance Day in the absolute best way on August 20th, and you can be part of it. Today, I'm joined by E.F. Dodd. She won our entry in the most recent charity auction for Romancing the Vote, and I was over the moon to record with her. You can pre-order her newest release, Earning It, right now. It'll be out on August 23rd. So, here we are recapping the 2018 movie Book Club. We're doing it. Ah! Hi! I have E.F. Dodd here today.
Hi, how are you?
Wonderful. Listener, we have been talking for a full 20 minutes before I actually pressed record. So we might have already done our banter. Oh, no.
It was a little banter, but we always have more. There's always room for more banter, despite what some people think.
Yeah, absolutely. So how are you these days?
I'm good. You know, the world is a little topsy-turvy these days.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But just like anybody else, I'm plugging on through.
Absolutely. Yep. Doing our best and keeping going.
Exactly.
That's what we're doing these days. Yeah. So I want to know about your most recent books because E.F. Dodd is out there in the world.
She is. She's living and breathing. So I just happen to have a fun copy of my latest book. And I think if I'm remembering our release schedule, that this is going to air, I think the day before this actually comes out. It's available for pre-order now.
Nice.
But it comes out August the 23rd. And it is actually the second in a series. They're all completely standalone.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is Risky Restoration.
Yeah.
And it's about Kez. Her full name is Kessler, but she goes by Kez. And then she has two good friends, Reagan, who goes by Ray, and then Vivian, who goes by V. And the first book is essentially about Kez kind of getting over her first big heartbreak.
Yeah.
And then moving on with Jackson. And Earning It picks up sort of where Risky Restoration left off. But again, you can read either one separately. Hopefully you read both. But, but Earning It is Ray's story. And it's kind of a second chance romance where one of her exes surprises her at the wedding of Kez and Jackson. Spoiler alert, Kez and Jackson have a happy ending. And it kind of goes on from there. And it's out now. It's available for pre-order now. But I will say that I just appreciate so much how welcoming the whole romance genre has been to me and how just really supportive, and especially the Heaving Bosoms Geriatric Friendship Facebook group. They have been very supportive. And then the break-off group from that, the writers group. Oh, yeah. I mean, everybody in there is just so great. And they want to celebrate all your successes with you and just are so happy whenever anything good comes along for you. So it's just really great to have that additional support system. Yeah. Because, you know, the family thinks you're doing great, you know, and all your friends are like, you're excellent. But to have people who, you know, really appreciate the genre that you're trying to write in and enjoy it and read other authors, and, you know, to have your work compared to some of those authors and the authors that you really like, you know, it's really uplifting in it. And, you know, I enjoy writing just as an escape anyway. I've pretty much always done it, even when I was in high school, you know, writing horrible poetry and stuff like that, as every teenage girl in the 90s did.
Absolutely.
So it's really something fun for me to do, to kind of retreat into a world where you can control the happily ever after, and you can have the characters, you know, make the right choices, even if you got to torture them just a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that part's fun, but it's even better to interact with people. Like once you put your stories out there, it's scary to, turn them loose into the wild and fingers crossed that they survive.
Yeah.
But to hear the feedback from readers and to just hear how much they enjoy it.
Yeah. One of the things I really liked about Risky Restoration was the vehicle of her restoring the house as she's sort of like putting her life back together.
Oh yeah.
Was really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, and you brought us a super fun movie.
I love this movie. It's not as diverse a cast as you would like,
Oh, sure.
But,
yeah.
I do think it's good though, because it's, an older contingent, and those folks, these ladies give me hope.
Absolutely. Right.
Especially Jane Fonda. I mean,
yeah, bow down in all ways.
Exactly.
So we're recapping book club, but because it's so intricate as far as like the timeline goes, we're going to give you the overall premise, and then we're going to give you like each character / couple's sort of like storyline. I think is the best way to do it.
I agree. I think it would be too tangled up if we did. I mean, everybody loves a spider web, but
yeah, absolutely.
I think we need to keep it straight. I agree.
Yeah. So we've got book club. There is Jane Fonda. There is Diane Keaton. There is Murphy Brown, who I hear.
I know, that's what I call her too. I can't. I mean, she will forever be Murphy Brown. Forever.
Yeah. I can't not see it. I'm sorry. And then Mary Steenburgen. And they are for like what, 60 something, 50 older, 50 early 60s.
In their 60s.
Yeah.
Now, ironically, I think Jane Fonda she was in her late 70s.
She had
11 years older than Don Johnson, and they went to school together. But whatever.
Nuts. It's Jane Fonda is like a different species.
Oh, I know.
It's amazing.
She's awesome.
Okay,
She's
so
awesome.
They're four friends, and they've been friends since forever. And the one thing that's always kept them in contact is their monthly book club, which is really
so
happy.
Great.
Yeah,
I know.
And they're doing the memoir and the lit fic and the serious, thing. And then Jane Fonda one day is just like, I'm done with this. I'm sick of acting like I'm dead. Like we can't do this anymore. And so she does pull out a copy of 50 Shades of Grey.
Oh no.
And she throws down the gauntlet.
And she's the perfect character to introduce that book, because in that first scene when she's with that guy and she's putting her over the knee boots on, I was like,
gosh. Yeah, she's getting dressed after like a nooner with a dude at her hotel, and I love it. Oh my gosh. And all these ladies are like at the top of their game. Jane Fonda owns 1 or 2 hotels. Murphy Brown is a federal judge. Diane Keaton.
She was a mom, and her husband was a CPA. It cracked me up when Jane Fonda was like, well, I think when he died, it was the best thing that ever happened to you, because now you get to have sex with somebody that's not an accountant. Like,
oh. Jane Fonda. Ooh.
Spice.
Yeah. And then Mary Steenburgen is a chef, or maybe is still a chef. So they're going to read 50 Shades of Grey, and like Mary Steenburgen and Diane Keaton are like open to it. They're sort of curious or whatever. And Murphy Brown is naysaying like crazy. She's just like, we're too old. It's, all of this we're past this already.
Oh yeah. And she's the one, that's when she says, because she's divorced. Yes. She married Ed Begley Jr., I think is her husband.
Yeah.
So she married him, and then they got divorced, and she says, I haven't had sex in 18 years. It's been the best 18 years of my life. And everybody's like, what?
Jane Fonda, God love her. She goes, what happens to a vagina?
Yes. And then they're like, somebody so-and-so did a documentary on it, and it's the cave of forgotten. I loved it.
Yeah, it's great stuff. So they're going to read 50 Shades, and like we get to see a couple of their like emergency book clubs, but mostly we just spend like 2 or 3 weeks with each of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's I really like the setup. I really like the way that everything like is structured.
Yeah.
But okay, so who do you want to start with?
Well, I mean, I guess we can start with Jane Fonda since she's the one that brought the book in.
Yeah.
And so she owns the hotel, and like she's coming down after her nooner with the military man. Hey.
Love it.
And she's walking through her hotel, and she's, making sure everything looks good. And then Don Johnson comes by. And I'm sorry, Don Johnson, that's an attractive man.
He can get it.
He could.
Yeah.
He could.
I mean, sure, man.
I get what Melanie Griffith saw in him. I get it. Into it. And so he walks by, and he, she's on the phone, and he says Slim. And I just love that he called her Slim. Like, it's just
really cute.
It's such a cute nickname.
Yeah.
And so he's her college boyfriend, I think.
Yes, I think so.
Yes.
Yeah.
He had wanted to marry her, and she said no.
He proposed to her over milkshakes, and she said a hard no, like a never. Yeah, and then he got on a plane and he skedaddled, and she has not seen him since. And she also has not had like a significant romantic relationship since, because she's the one who like will fuck but won't have feelings. And she won't sleep over, and she won't do any of like the intimacies that a couple might. God, I love her so much.
And she has the best clothes. I mean, I'd wear everything she wore.
Yeah. I think Jane Fonda, like the real life one, has some sort of rider in her contract that's like, I will have the best outfits in the movie. Like you're going to have to double my wardrobe budget compared to everybody else if you want me in this movie, because everything she's in, she's always, I know. Amazing.
Top of style. Meanwhile, Diane Keaton's like, just give me an old poncho. And I'm like,
I love her. I love her too. Oh my God. Okay. So she's like, oh my gosh, my college flame is here. And he's like, wow, are you going to be like around? I'm here for a few days. Yeah. Does she live in the hotel? She does, right?
She does, I think.
I think she does. Yeah.
I think so.
Oh, she's just just everything about it is iconic.
Yeah, she's so badass. I mean, she has her problems, but she's just badass.
Yeah. Yeah. She's just very stylish while having her problems in every way possible.
Yes,
yeah.
Exactly.
So she ends up like getting together. Oh no, she's in her office. She's got her feet up on the desk, and her assistant calls in, and she's like, Don Johnson is on the phone and he wants to talk to you. And she's like, take a message. And then in he walks through her office door, and he says, take a message.
She's highlighting 50 Shades of Grey while she's sitting there. Oh, it's really cute. So great. And their banter it is so good. They vibe off each other so well. I just love it. And he asks her for coffee, but they don't get coffee. They get like ices.
They get like shave ice. Yeah.
Which I thought was so cute.
Me too. And they like walk through this botanical garden because of course they do.
I know. Well, now here's a fun fact. Did you ever watch the show Bones?
Yes.
So, they always show the Jeffersonians rose garden.
Oh yeah.
That's the same thing in this movie. It's
really?
Spot.
Interesting. Yeah. That's really cool.
Random fact.
Yeah. That's cool. So he is like probing, and he's like, so you didn't pick up a husband along the way of all your like professional adventures? And she's like, no, absolutely not. I am a smart person. And like, I've saved myself so much time and heartache and problems. And then she's like, what about you? Is there a missus? And he's like, yes. However, she did run away with like my dog and my
co-op on the park.
My co-op on the park. Oh.
And I never got a good sense of what it is that he does. Like, is he in radio? Is that what it is?
Maybe. I have no idea. Idea whatsoever.
But it never really said like what his
profession is available to Jane Fonda.
I like it.
That's what he does these days. Oh, yeah. And so he's like, we're going to get together more while I'm here. And is this when she starts telling him about like her rules for men, or
I
is
think
that later?
So she tells him, so first they get in trouble with the Segway guy.
Oh my God. They flounce through a fountain.
Yes, because he says that he gives her a penny or something to make a wish.
Yeah.
He says, well, that's a stupid wish, or that's not a real wish, or whatever. And
also, you're not supposed to tell people your wishes. You ruined it. You jinxed it.
And so he makes the Segway guy take a picture of them while they're in the fountain before they get up. So cute. So cute. And then I think like she sees him maybe in the hotel. That's what it is. He gets in the hotel in the elevator with her in a robe.
Oh, yes.
And she's like, have you been saving wishes all over town? And so he asks her to go to coffee or drinks or something. She's like, we have a wonderful bar here in the hotel.
Oh, yeah.
And it's so cute. Is that when he sends her the picture of them in the fountain or whatever? And he says,
so.
With the raincoat, next time we should wear protection.
Oh my God.
Come on, Don Johnson. Come on.
Dude, stop being so adorable with your dad jokes.
Oh, it's the best. It's the best.
Way too much.
And go ahead.
Oh no. So Jane Fonda has she has these boundaries that she has set for herself in order to have a successful life. And one of the main ones is she doesn't sleep with men. And he's like, you don't sleep with men? Like, I don't remember that part. And she's like, no. I have sex, but I just do not sleep. Like there's no overnights. There's nothing like that. And they go on this date. Oh my God. They end up on the couch, and it is the cutest thing in the whole wide world because you can see all over Don Johnson's angelic face that he knows he's like getting away with something. Like he has accomplished something right now because she's got her head on his lap and he's like tickling her arm.
Because that's her favorite thing in the whole world is arm tickles.
Oh.
And I was like, I hear you, Jane. I can get down with that.
Yeah, I think
down with that.
Under the right circumstances, I could be persuaded.
Oh. Yeah. And it's that you're right. It is such a sweet scene because you can just tell how happy he is that she's like breaking down that, that barrier that she's kept up for 40 years.
Yeah.
He's the one to get through. And he just, it's just like the same way he looks at her when he sees her after 40 years and, calls her slim again. It's just like, this is the woman of my dreams.
Yeah. Yeah. They pressed pause for a minute, but they've managed to resurrect all of this magic that they had together. Ugh.
And he doesn't. And I thought the best part about his character, well, one of the best parts, there's a lot of good parts, but he doesn't judge her for the way that she's lived her life for the last 40 years. Just no committed relationship, just, having men there basically at her beck and call when she wants to get some. And I thought that was, for his character, I thought that was really cool, especially given their age and their generation.
Sure.
For him to just accept that she is this very liberated, independent woman who, if she wants some, she's just going to call up old dude and say, what's up?
Yeah.
And he accepted that and didn't judge it and was just like, well, I want to be the guy that you call from here on out. I want to be your dude.
That speech, because he has to go. He has to get on a plane. And so he does this because she gets a little skittish after this.
Oh, yeah.
Understandably. Have been there when you're like, oh, no. I'm breaking all the rules and I like it. Oh no.
Oh yeah.
He's getting under my skin. So she's freaking out a little bit. And he does this speech to her that's like, I want to be the person that you call. I want to love you for the rest of your life. I want to just be with you, period, the end. Oh
yeah. And he's like, I don't want to change anything about you.
God.
I mean, what better words are there?
I know. But she rebuffs him hard. She's just like,
have a nice flight home.
Yep. Yeah. Like a handshake. Bye.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, so Should we save the HEAs until like everybody gets together? Because all of the ladies are involved with each of their
Yeah, I think
HEAs.
that's a good idea. Yeah.
Okay. Or at least usually.
Yeah.
Who should we do next?
Let's see. Should we do Murphy Brown?
Let's do some Murphy Brown. Candace Bergen, come on down.
Her cat named Ginsburger.
Oh, Ginsburger. Like everything about Murphy Brown is so taciturn and like she is all business until she's just sort of like, until she gets challenged, really.
Yeah.
So she's this federal judge and she was married for a long time. And it says she just sort of married this safe guy, but he was never at the same level as her. What was the breaking point? It was like,
he asked her what Don Quixote was about.
Oh boy, that would break me too. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Tell me the plot of Don Quixote.
Exactly. It made me think of what is it in Shawshank Redemption when that guy keeps calling him Alexandre Dumas.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. Such vibes. Such vibes.
Yeah. So she asked him for the divorce, but she's still like a little bit hung up on him because she hasn't like just put herself out there at all. Right.
For 18 years.
18 years. I can't even wrap my brain around that.
I try to do the math just like based on like basically how old I thought she was.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm assuming most of these characters are supposed to be in their early 60s.
That's like a third of her life.
Yeah.
Which means like that she probably only spent just a little over a third of her life fucking. Yeah. Like, how do
you give it up when you're in your late 40s?
Murphy Brown.
You're better than that. Absolutely. What would Elton say? Yeah.
So she and Jane, what say again?
She gets a phone call while she's on the bench or whatever. And it's like her son, and she calls a recess. And that's when she finds out that her son's engaged. And then her ex-husband is with Cheryl, who is
because her name is Sharon. Murphy Brown's name in the movie is Sharon. And now he's with Cheryl, who's like 20 years younger. And she's like this hot little thing.
Oh, yeah.
And very like bubbly and sweet. Cheryl's a sweetheart.
Cheryl is a sweetheart. I mean, I can't knock Cheryl. And it's like, it's been 18 years, Murphy Brown.
Yeah. You really got to put your shoes on and get out more.
And it's not like, Cheryl was probably 5 when y'all got divorced.
Oh, good Lord. You're absolutely right.
It didn't have anything to do with it. But she calls her he's in Maui with a tartlet named Cheryl.
A tartlet. That detail was so perfect because she had to infantilize her even with that. Like, tartlet. So good.
Oh, it cracks me up.
Yeah. So she finds out that her son and her ex-husband are like not only on the same vacation together that she obviously was not invited to / even notified about, but they both got engaged together. And like, they're probably going to have like a joint engagement party and stuff. And like, honestly, that would throw me for a loop too.
Oh yeah.
All of that's rough. Yeah. But so she's struggling with the book. She keeps on being like, I love that scene where she's sitting there and she's just like, that can't. Wow. And she's turning pages being like, this can't. Oh my gosh. Like, I don't think I should know about things like this.
It cracks me up. And then she gets on Bumble.
Yeah, because Jane Fonda throws down the gauntlet again. And she's like, she does like a reverse psychology on her, basically. She negs her into dating again because she's like, I don't think you could open up to another human being.
Yeah.
And Murphy Brown's like, I've never seen a challenge I didn't want to conquer. So here we go. She has a hard time.
Date with Richard Dreyfuss.
Mr. Holland's Opus. Yes. Richard Dreyfuss is here now.
Yes.
And he's so cute. And he like puts her at ease. So she's thinking that she's like bumbling and an idiot. And he says, can I can I just like be honest with you really quickly? She's like, sure. He's like, I changed my shirt 6 times before this date and I only have 5 shirts. Like, we're both nervous here. It's okay.
Oh, and when she walks into the restaurant and she looks over and there's all those riding crops hung up and she's just been reading.
Oh yeah.
That tickled me. Yeah. But when I think it's Mary before her date, Jane Fonda and Mary Steenburgen take her to buy Spanx.
Oh, yes. Oh boy. And so she tries to wrestle herself into some Spanx, and I've never felt more seen.
No.
The struggle of trying to get Spanx on, like, oof.
Well, and then I was sitting here thinking, I don't know that I've ever tried those on. Like gone into the store and tried those on.
That is an excellent point.
Privacy of my own home.
Yeah, you just like read the chart on the back and then you take them home. Yeah. That is an excellent point. I have never taken Spanx into a dressing room. Probably like, because of the grunting it requires to put them on.
Well, first of all, no dressing room is big enough to do the extended hop.
The hop, yes. Absolutely.
No. But so she not only, I guess, is trying on the scuba gear, because that's what it looks like. She's also trying this dress on, and she has like the scuba gear is somehow on top of part of the dress. And the dress, I think, is also on backwards and halfway unzipped.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah, she's a hot mess and it's adorable because she's so put together in every other way. And this is the one area of her life that just like unravels her.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's so cute.
It was so relatable, though, when she's walking with them and she's talking about, I met this guy online, because we've all had friends who did the online dating, and it's like, well, what if he's, a troll, or what if she's like, what if he doesn't have arms?
Oh yeah. And that's the first thing she says to Richard Dreyfuss. She's like, oh, look, you do have arms. It would be fine if you didn't, but oh boy.
I know, but they have the cutest just dinner date. And that's the best part about this book to me, is that like all of the book about this movie, all of these guys, to some extent are pretty in touch with their EQ. There's not a lot of bluster.
Yeah.
It's really, there's a lot of honesty in it.
Yeah.
And I think that's so great to see, and just really people who are honestly flummoxed by the online thing.
Sure.
Because, it is, I'm sure, especially in 2018 when this came out, if you're in your early 60s or late 50s or, however old they're supposed to be, online dating would be very daunting, I would think. I mean, I think it would be daunting for somebody in their 40s.
Yeah, it would be daunting for me right now today. Yeah. It's a lot. And yeah, you're right. There is something to like, it's not just, there's like a vulnerability, but that's not it either. Exactly. There's this sincerity in every character that is really, even the characters that are like one and done, never come back.
Oh yeah.
It's really nice. I hadn't thought of that before, but you're completely right. Yeah. Okay. But now we have to get to the parking lot.
Yeah. So they have a lovely meal.
Yeah.
Very nice. Everything's good.
So they go outside and he's obviously like, well, I know there's a really small chance that this will be getting to the second date territory and stuff. So like, burr, 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 burr. And she's like, do you want to kiss me? And then I think she says, oh, screw it.
Blam!
Grabs him by the chin, listener, and just plants one on him.
Yeah.
Cut scene. They're getting out of the back of her car, very disheveled.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And he hands her back her Spanx. He's like,
oh, my gosh.
Turn them right side out first. How sweet is that?
He turned them right side out first. That's maybe love.
I think these belong to you.
Yeah. Oh, my God. You're so right.
So cute. And so that gives her like this big confidence boost.
Heck yeah.
It's awesome to see. She sails in the door, says hello to Ginsberger, and then she's got like new messages on Bumble.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Dr. Derek.
Oh, Dr. Derek is ready to throw down. Dr. Derek's ready. So she goes on that date and before she sees anybody, she runs into her ex-husband and his new fiance.
Cheryl. And Cheryl comes running over and gives her a hug.
She's just so sweet. You know, like
she
just
really
wants them to be a happy family is all.
Yeah. And the ex-husband is like, she says, oh, Tom. Well, I think his name's Tom.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, you look great, Murphy Brown.
Yeah.
And she says, your hair is dark. And he says, I dyed it. And she's like, I know.
Yeah, I would think
Don
so.
Quick-soaked, I know.
Oh, poor man.
And then Dr. Derek comes up with his rose.
So I don't know. The first time I watched this, I actually thought that it was going to be one of those situations where he saw there was like an awkward moment with her ex-husband, like inviting her to the joint engagement party. And I thought that he was going to be like a stranger who came up and was like, oh, let me save you from this awkward moment. But then I realized he was just her date.
Yeah.
Which is also cute. But
and he was sweet. He wanted to DJ the double engagement party.
Adorable. And that's the inconceivable guy.
That's just what I was about to say is he will always be the inconceivable guy from Princess Bride. Regardless of whatever else he's in, he is the inconceivable guy.
Yes, absolutely.
But then he just kind of goes away. Like we see him then and then that's it.
Yeah, I was unclear. I was like going back and forth with myself. Is she going to like go back with Richard Dreyfuss, or was Richard Dreyfuss like truly just the warm up to get to the inconceivable guy?
Inconceivable, yeah. And then I didn't really understand like her reaction. I mean, yes, it sucks to see your ex-husband and his smoking hot new little wife or fiance at dinner when Dr. Derek walks up. But I mean, you're obviously out there, and I thought she looked great.
Oh, yeah.
In her outfit, and she's there and Dr. Derek's there. Now, Dr. Derek is no Cheryl, but I mean.
No, Dr. Derek is, he's just like incredibly awkward. And he's one of those doctors who's like, hi, I'm Dr. D.
And it's like he calls himself Dr. Derek like 8 times in the span of 5 minutes.
And he's like, I'm so sorry I was late. I had a very complicated surgery and like all of that kind of stuff. And you're just like, I feel like you're trying a little too hard and I got a jet.
But so she leaves there, I think, and then like deletes her and is like upset and deletes her whole thing.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a little bit dramatic.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, you had this great time. Why not look up Richard Dreyfuss?
Why not call him back?
Yeah.
Would you like a date number 2?
Yeah.
I really enjoyed our rodeo in the back of my car.
Exactly. I'll bring new Spanx.
Absolutely.
I thought that was a little, just based on what they had said about her character that far, I thought that was out of character for her. Like she's gonna tap out after this one not that shitty experience.
Right.
I thought that was weird. But so, and then I think that's it for her for a little bit. She takes Ginsberger to the vet.
Ginsberger. Yeah. And then I was like, is it going to be the vet? What's happening with Murphy Brown? It's not.
And it's just like this one-off scene or whatever. And it never comes back either. So
So by the end of it, she just, I think she might have just been like a little bit emotionally exhausted and overwhelmed at that point. Because she goes to the joint party. And I feel like that gave her a bit more confidence, because she's just like, you know what? I don't want you. That's true. I haven't wanted you for a really long time.
And it's like that finally, I think, clicks in her brain that, this guy, he gave her he gave her the son. And I never really knew if she had a good relationship with the son or not. It was just kind of stilted and weird. But yeah, I think you're right. I think she goes there and she sees him with Cheryl and she's like, that is not the dude for me.
Right.
And hasn't been in a really long time.
Well, it helps that he does misunderstand Shakespeare in his toast. So that's nice. That's really like helpful for Murphy Brown. And then she does correct him in her toast, which I was like, lady, you got to just let it go. Yeah. Honestly.
She did end up, like she said in her toast, love is just a word until someone gives it meaning. I was like, oh, that's very true.
That is
And
really nice.
it did end up being sweet after she was like, Tommy, you're a dumbass.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, there was just that moment at the beginning where I wanted to like crawl in under my desk.
yes,
Oh,
it was very awkward. So,
yeah. So by the end, she's just like, no, I'm going to be a lady about town. And she resurrects her Bumble profile.
yes.
And guess who's winking at her?
Wink, wink, Richard Dreyfuss.
Oh, round 2 is going to happen.
I know, it's so cute.
Round forever, frankly. Me too. They're actually adorable together.
They really are.
They're so cute.
I love those girls.
Yeah. Okay, who are we doing next?
Do you want to do Diane Keaton?
Let's do Diane Keaton. Yeah.
So ironically, I think her name is Diane.
It is Diane. Yeah. And I was like, thank you, movie. This is how you should have handled all of them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Diane Keaton she was like a mom and she had a really, really, really happy marriage until her husband died last year. And she's mostly handling it pretty okay. Like it seems like she's really just like stable on her own, and she's not like mired in the very beginnings of grief, you know?
Yeah.
So she's all about reading this 50 Shades. She's very cute about it.
She loves it. She loves it. Oh,
Yeah.
it makes me laugh so hard.
Yeah.
But like her daughters,
Oh
Alicia
my God.
Silverstone and girl number 2. I didn't know who she was.
Lady from the League, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
Clueless and Lady from the League.
Got it.
Yeah, they both need cunt punches. I'm sorry.
God, they were horrible.
They were the worst.
Were horrible.
Because they've decided that since their dad died, like their mom is on death's doorstep. And I think, do they live together? Are they that codependent that the sisters live together with their spouses?
I don't think so. I mean,
it really felt that way.
So this whole story takes place in California. That's where all the ladies live. Well, so Diane Keaton's daughters live in Arizona. And I think they live separately, but you never see them separate from each other. They're always together. And I'm just like, seems weird.
Terrible.
But so she basically had no real life experience other than with her husband, because according, and Murphy Brown says this, the last time she had a first date, she got pregnant.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, she's really just, I think, kind of adjusting. And in my opinion, very well on her own.
Yeah.
And her house, I love her house. It's so gorgeous.
All those plants. Like,
oh my gosh, I know.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
So, but her daughters have convinced themselves that she needs to move to Arizona, and they want her to move into one of them's basement. Maybe their basement. No,
maybe their joint basement. They keep on talking about the basement. They're the ones with issues. Yeah, they've decided that her hips are suddenly made of peanut brittle, and like she's blind now. She can't drive anymore because she's just like hitting age. And so they're really, really pressuring her and constantly coming at her being like, you can't do that anymore. And like, we worry about you because of safety. And it's just like, what are you doing? Like, I am the mom. Like, I feel like I would have freaked out way sooner than she did.
Oh, me too. Oh. And I mean, I understand that their dad, I guess, maybe he died unexpectedly. I don't know that that's really clear.
Yeah, that's true.
But I just, you can look at Diane Keaton and she's fine.
She's great.
I mean, she looks amazing.
Yeah.
She has the most unique style of anybody. And she just, she puts it together in a way that just makes you want to hang out with her.
Absolutely. Yeah. She's very dynamic.
Yes. It's just like, it blows my mind that she puts that stuff together and makes it look so put together.
I know.
But so anyway, so so
they really want her to move out to Arizona. Yeah. And she's like, I would miss my book club. Like all of my friends are here. And they're like, but all of your family is in Arizona. And I'm sitting there going, but only one of those things sucks hard.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
there's only one of those things that I would want to stay several states away from.
Yeah, there's only one of those things that makes me feel actively bad. Like, let's not, shall we?
And like they make her call them like all the time. And I'm just like, that made me nuts. It made me absolutely nuts.
I thought her speech at the end was so gracious and kind because instead of doing what I would probably do, she says like, your parenting instincts are, very robust, but I do need you to point them away from me. Yeah. Because I'm not dead and I'm going to live my life. And there would have been more expletives more throwing my hands in the air. Just there would have
and it would have happened way sooner than that.
Oh my God. Yeah. Pretty much immediately. But she gets on a plane because she's going to go to Arizona to like the
Test
daughters have, they've convinced her to like check it out. And so she gets there and she tries to climb over this sleeping man. And instead she just sort of like falls into his lap, which I loved.
That made me laugh so hard because it's so awkwardly adorable. And so few people can pull that off, but by God, she did. And it was hilarious.
Like, I've never even contemplated that. I've looked at it and I was like, that is certain mutual death. Like, I'm just going to wake the person up. And
the other side of it is, who's already asleep before before everybody's not on board?
I mean, he had to, like, you have to be really hungover, right?
Yeah.
Like,
and you're in the middle seat.
Yeah.
Why are you asleep?
Yeah. You have a job to do right now. Yeah. And it is to let everyone else get settled as well. Oh my God, you're so right. Yeah.
It makes no sense, but it is adorable. I mean, and she grinds on him on the way to the seat.
Great. Yeah. And he likes it without being pervy. He's very respectable, but you can tell that he's like, okay. I don't know what's going on here.
Weird.
Yeah. So she's like popping Xanax because she's afraid of flying. And then he at some point asks her about her husband and she's like, he died. And then he goes in a plane crash. And like, it was so funny. And especially with Andy Garcia's delivery.
Oh yeah.
Because that's who plays Mitchell. I don't know.
Mitchell, I think so. I think that's right.
Matter. Andy and Diane and Andy.
There you go.
Yeah. So anyway, they do a big banter the whole time. He looks,
and the jet bridge, they like close the jet bridge and she like grabs him right in the business.
She like, freaks out for no reason. They're still on the ground. They haven't even begun taxiing yet. The third person in their row hasn't even sat down. And the plane jostles a little bit and she just goes for the immediate crotch grab, just flails into a crotch grab. And he, again, likes it without being pervy. Like, he walks a very fine line in this movie, Andy Garcia does.
He does.
And, he makes it. He really nailed it.
But he does. I mean, and his voice is just like, it's that like gravelly, velvety.
Oh boy. Yeah. Yeah. It's great stuff.
I like it.
Later on, when he looks her dead in the face and he says, it's okay to be happy in that voice, I was just like, how do you not see that this is the way?
Exactly.
This is the way.
Take it. He wants you. Take it.
Okay. So then he like sort of looks over a little bit while he's pretending to be asleep. And he does see her reading 50 Shades of Grey. And so at the end of the flight, he's like, what were you reading? And she panics and just sort of shouts, Moby Dick. And then he like questions her about it a little bit. And then he's like, I didn't know that Christian Grey had a nickname. And she's just like,
oh, curse you, Andy Garcia. So good. And you're right. His delivery of everything is just what makes it. It's just so good. It's just perfectly timed. Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's great stuff. So on her return flight, because she has to take an earlier flight because her daughters are hellhounds. And she has to get somebody calls an emergency book club because something happened in somebody's relationship.
I think it's Mary Steenburgen.
Oh, yeah.
And she's like reading 50 Shades and she calls and the first thing she says, have you ever been spanked? I was like, I think you called the wrong person. Like, you need to get back here right now. We have to talk about this.
We have to talk about this. Yes.
Oh.
So on the way back, the flight attendant is like, lady in 17A, I need you at the front of the plane, please.
Mm-hmm.
And she's done one of those like post or like mid-flight survey things.
Mm-hmm.
And the stewardess participates in a bit of a sexual harassment because
that's kind of how I saw it too. Because, you know, at first I was like, okay, is this cute or is it a little much? You know, hold on, my dog's trying to get into my office.
Oh, okay. What kind of dog?
He's a bulldog.
Oh, cute.
Yeah.
Sweet boy.
He's a good dude. Yes.
So she's like, I need more information from you on this survey. I'm going to need to know your full phone number, your full physical address, your full name. Like, she basically asks for her blood type as well.
I know.
And she's just giving it over. She's just like, really? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
You know this?
Absolutely. And I'm like, Diane Keaton, identity theft exists.
Exactly.
You gotta...
that was a little much for me. But, and I think if he hadn't come out during that, I would not have liked it. But because he comes out and owns up to it and is like, well, we're very thorough. Pilots are very thorough, or whatever it is he says. She's like, oh my gosh, it's you.
Yeah. Yeah. And then he very obviously takes it from he takes it so that she can say no at any point. Like, I don't want you to have this information.
Yeah.
But he's like, come, like, we need to get together. I'll call you. And she's just completely flummoxed. She doesn't know what to do with herself.
And the alarm. She's like, get back in there. The alarm.
That's right. He's like, go out with me. And she's like, and then there's some sort of alarm happening. And she's like, go fix the alarm. And he goes, well, we're in the middle of something very important. I couldn't possibly.
Conversation.
Yeah. And so she's like, yes, I'll go out with you. Like, please don't let the plane crash.
Fix it. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
And then he just opens the door and like clicks the button. He's like, okay, we're good.
Yeah. Like, it's great. So then he calls her and he's like, let's go to dinner tomorrow. And she's like, well, you're in Arizona and I'm in California. So like, that's not going to work. And then he's like, I am a pilot. Did you recall? So he flies in and he comes to get her. The ladies get her dressed.
You need something sexy.
I need to ask you an actual logistical question right now. And that is, if you have had friends for more than 40 years, do you shut the door to your walk-in closet to get changed?
No.
Right?
No.
Like the very first time I was in the same room as Jenny, she just like tits out changed. Like, it's we're just.
That's what we do.
Like,
one of my good friends just got married. Yeah. And I mean, she and I are just running around in there, tits out, and it's all good.
Yeah, it was so funny because she kept on being like, what about this outfit? And then she would close the door to like go change
very
again.
Like, very buttoned up and poncho and, all that. So maybe that's part of her deal, but no, we do not close doors. And
it's so much effort. So much effort.
Yeah. And it's like, I'm sorry, we had gym class together. You know what's up.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. We've been on way too many lake days for this to be a thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, so he takes her to dinner. And
they're so cute peeking out the window. And like, he's wearing jeans. I love a man in jeans.
He's got a nice butt. Oh, so cute.
So cute. So cute.
So anyway, basically they become a couple. And like, it goes from this date to her visiting. Oh, she comes out to Arizona to see the terrible daughters. And once again, she says she's leaving early. I know. But instead she goes up the escalator and then she like changes clothes, right? And then comes down.
I think because her daughter's like making fun of her. She's like, I think it's so cute how your generation has to get fancy for air travel.
Yeah. She realizes that was like at least 2 generations ago, right? Like above Diane Keaton.
And it's just like her daughters are just so
horrendous.
they're terrible and they're so clueless. And I don't understand how you can see Diane Keaton's character in this movie and think she's like some fragile old lady.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
and I did think it was cool. And I can't remember when it was, but it was one of the times she went out to Arizona and they like put her in those rocking chairs with the old people.
Yes.
You know, but then in the background, there's Victoria's Secret.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, that's such a good juxtaposition because she's so much closer to going in there, you know, reading her 50 Shades than she is with these macrame and grandmas on these, you know, massage chairs.
The people who are taking naps in public, like it's clearly a field trip from like the nursing home, you know? Ugh. And I think it's Mary Steenburgen or Berger. I don't know how to say her name. She's like, how are you feel? Like, what's it like out there? And she's like, I feel like I'm in The Walking Dead. And I'm just like, oh no.
Yes. Yes. Oh God. It's so awful. But so she sneaks away from the family.
Yeah. She goes up the escalator at the airport and then down, and he picks her up. And now they're going to go out to his Arizona ranch because he's a secret billionaire.
I know. And I was like, I'm sorry, that wherever he is, I need to go to that resort because there's no way that's somebody's house. I mean, it was freaking gorgeous.
Absolutely stunning. Oh. Yeah. And they're like canoodling in the pool, like making out on a swan floaty and stuff.
So cute.
So cute. And like obviously just having the time of their lives. Oh, yeah. And then the daughters freak out because like she's not answering her phone. She didn't get on the plane. Burr, 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 burr. She's like, she can be.
They call the cops.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like fair, you know, like that's it.
But I mean, like, here's the thing. And, you know, say my mom had come over or whatever, and she was like, I'm going to go back.
Yeah.
Well, the first person I'm going to call is going to be like one of her friends.
Absolutely.
And say, hey, I haven't heard from my mom in a day. Well, and that's the other thing. They don't call the cops right away. They wait like 24 hours. And I'm like,
it's a while.
Is really an issue?
Yeah.
You're screwed.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And then they crash her party at his house. Yes. They all come over.
But before that, he takes her up in that plane. Which made me, and it was so cute because it's like in 50 Shades, you know, when Christian takes Anna in the glider or whatever. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's the reenactment, only it's cooler.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so cute.
And it's especially serious because she has a fear of flying.
Oh, yeah. So, and he's like, don't touch the controls or we'll crash.
Oh my God, it's so cute. And like they keep on needling each other back and forth about like who dies in plane crashes and stuff. Like it's so morbid and adorable. I love it.
So great. But anyway, so the daughters show up.
They barge in.
Policeman.
And they're like sobbing. Mm-hmm. Like one of the things that I love about her husband, and he's just like, this is not, you're hormonal. Like, cause she's very pregnant and like, this isn't a big deal. And everybody's like, ah.
And he tries to shake Andy Garcia's hand and Alicia Silverstone's like, no.
Yeah. And then Diane Keaton freaks out. And she's like, you're right. I should just be a vegetable because that's what you want, my beautiful daughters. And she packs up to leave. And he's like, hey, your kids are adults. Yeah. Like, it's okay. Like, you've been doing everything for everyone else for a really long time. And it's okay to make a choice for you. And it's okay to be happy.
Oh, yeah.
And she says like condescending things about him not understanding what being a parent is like.
Because you just live here on your ranch and you don't have any responsibilities and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, ranch
fuck
is
you, Diane Keaton.
Got responsibilities.
That's not responsibility. That's bad parenting, honestly.
Yeah. I just don't. And that was the other disconnect for me is that just like, I mean, I get it that, you know, she's worried, I guess, about her daughters because their father passed away. But I mean, it's been a year.
Yeah.
And I don't want to judge anybody's, you know, grief cycle or whatever. But I mean, after a year, they need to let you move on if you have moved on.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, shouldn't they be excited for you to continue into this next stage of your life and not be like clinging to your husband's old shirt that still smells like his aftershave, you know?
Well, and like even more than that, what really struck me is like the intergenerational thing of like normally one would think that like the older person would be like, your life is over when your husband dies.
Mm-hmm.
And instead she's like, no, I'm doing pretty okay. And it's the younger people who are like, your life is over because your husband is dead.
Exactly.
So you need to just like eat soup and wait to die.
I know.
And like, that's not, anyway.
It's cool.
I thought it was really cute. So finally she's like, I'm going to move back. I'm going to move to Arizona into the basement of the house my daughters share because they're
I can walk
incredibly
into the shower.
Oh my God. Yeah. They got her a walk-in shower. That's so good. Oh my God. Anyway. And then finally she has enough at some point because they're like, Mom, I can't believe you drove to like CVS or something.
Yeah.
And
you're all the way out here. That's such a lot. You're lucky you didn't kill somebody. And it's like, well, then why didn't you fly her out there if you're that worried about it? Why did you make her drive a U-Haul to Arizona?
Yeah. Why didn't you hire her a moving company and pay for it, assholes?
Exactly.
So anyway, she's like, this is enough. This is absolutely enough. We can't do this anymore. You can't simultaneously treat me like I'm on death's doorstep, but also infantilize me like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
You need to find a way to like channel these parenting instincts into a being that is not me, because I still have life to live and I'm a grown ass woman.
Yes.
And she says it so much more beautifully and like compassionately than I did.
Yeah, that's like you said. It's like you said. I mean, mine would have been laced with so much more profanity and just like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah.
And I would have been done way before she was.
Yeah. There would have been so much more indignation if I was with Diane Keaton.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then she goes and she's HEA with that pilot bro. She drives her U-Haul to his ranch, which I thought was simultaneously presumptuous and badass.
Yeah.
She's just like, I know he wants it
at the door. So I'm like, did she call first?
I know, right? Or does he just have like a ridiculously long ranch driveway where you can like hear the gravel? That's what my house was like.
And then in my mind, I'm like, there's no way that place doesn't have a gate.
Yeah, for definitely. Yeah. And it's like, and it's an electric one. Like there's a code.
Oh yeah.
It's the whole business. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so Diane Keaton's all buttoned up happily ever after.
Yes. And he asked her, what's in the U-Haul? And she's like, just my overnight bag.
Wow.
So cute. So
it's
cute.
So cute.
Oh, so that leaves us with Mary Steenburgen.
Yeah, her. Good old Mary.
And the man who will forever be Coach.
He's Coach. Yes. His name is Craig T. Nelson, I wrote down. But yes, right. He is Coach. So they've been married for forever. And they've always been like famously doing it.
Oh yeah.
Like everybody knows.
Love and so attracted to each other and everything is peachy keen.
Yeah. Mary and Coach do it all the time. Everybody knows it. They have kids, but the kids are like not in the picture. Like they're never
not even mentioned.
Yeah. But once she starts reading 50 Shades, she comes not to the conclusion, but I think she finally lets herself admit that they're in a bit of a marital rut.
Yeah.
And we find out that they haven't had sex in 6 months. And oh my God, I love it. All the ladies are like, "Wow!" Except for Murphy Brown, who's like, "Yeah, that part of our lives is over." Oh my God, Murphy Brown.
I know.
So they go to their anniversary dinner, and he is so sweet. Like his voice also is just like he's a sexy Kermit the Frog.
A little bit.
How does he do that?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
He does. And I feel like he looks exactly the same as he did. I mean, he's older.
Completely.
But I mean, he still looks like Coach.
Yeah, completely. Yep. So she gets him dance lessons because she has signed them up for a talent show at the benefit for children that she runs.
Yeah.
And he's like, "You signed us up for a performance without okay."
Yeah. And
great,
I was
honey.
like, Mary, that's a little presumptuous there.
Mary,
like that's not cool.
That's not a foolproof plan at all. And he gets them both these adorable noise canceling earplugs that I actually found to be very romantic.
Eargasm.
Eargasms. Oh my gosh. And it's because he wants her to be able to watch her TV shows and so that he can go to sleep earlier and that his snoring won't bother her.
Yeah.
And like, I'm sorry, I don't care what age you are. That's a big romance.
It is. It's very sweet. And it's like and to me, she's like, she's obviously, well, I say obviously, she's offended by it. She's like, oh, earplugs, that's not romantic. And I'm like, that's a lot more romantic because he put thought into what would be good for you.
Yes.
Whereas with your present, you put no thought into whether or not he would want to do that. You just felt like y'all were drifting apart. So let's shove us together in this dance class for this, talent show in front of hundreds of people at this fancy benefit. Like, Mary, I think we know who's in the wrong here, and it's not Coach.
Absolutely. And like, on the other hand, I sort of felt for her because I feel like there is that moment in any kind of relationship where you get like the narrative stuck in your head and you can only see things through that lens.
Oh yeah.
And so later on in the movie, when things like finally come to a head, she's like, yeah, you got us earplugs so that we wouldn't have to like listen to each other even when we're close. And he's like, no, I got my wife earplugs because I want to be able to like go to sleep next to you. That's why I got them for you, is I like doing a snuggle on you while you watch TV. Oh.
Exactly. And it's like the running thing for them through the movie is just like, if they would just, this is the tried and true, if they would just talk to each other, romance thing, it would have been solved. But because, he's kind of like, he's scared or whatever because of retirement. He doesn't know really what's next for him, but he doesn't want to appear scared in front of her. And she's worried about this. But it's like they just never have the conversation that they need to have. So
until they're too frustrated to have a constructive conversation.
Exactly.
Yeah. So she wants to bone, and all the ladies are like, well, then you should pull an Anastasia and like, do something sexy. So she decides to put on her teeny bopper waitress outfit, which I thought was very cute because he's found his motorcycle.
Yes.
And it so obviously like breathes new life into him. And he calls the motorcycle like a she. And he's like talking about her hot chassis and her.
Oh yeah. And when he's doing that, and he walks in and he's doing that in front of all the girls at the book club. And this is right after like she's told them they hadn't had sex for 6 months. And he's like, lube up that blah, 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 and give her a spank on the blah, blah, blah. And they're like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Seems like Mister's raring to go.
Exactly.
So she like, flaunts her boobs in front of him. And she's like, you could take me for a ride. But then like the wheel pops or something.
Oh yeah.
And he's just like not picking it up. And I think he's sort of being
deliberately oblivious.
Yes. Yes, exactly that. And she's frustrated, but she won't use her words.
Yeah.
So then they go to dance classes every now and then, and it's not great. Then finally she's just like, I want to fuck. And in front of
the neighbors.
Oh my God. And he's like, I don't want to talk about this right now. I especially don't want to talk about it out in public in front of our neighbors. Yeah. And like, stop it. Like, leave me alone. This is not the time and not the way. And I hate it.
And like, he even went to like his doctor about it. And I'm just like, that you're crossing some lines here. Just like, well, I did it because I didn't think you would talk to him. Well, did you ask?
Yeah, and like, what kind of HIPAA violations is that doctor pulling? Like that can't be a thing.
It's not a good thing. Not a good situation.
Yeah. Then she slips him a Mickey.
I had a big problem with that.
Huge problems. Huge.
Yeah,
problems.
Like that's not okay. And Jane Fonda, shame on you for giving them to her.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah. And now maybe Jane's thinking it was going to be consensual. I don't know. I didn't get that vibe, but you know.
So Jane Fonda gives her Viagra, being like, this will do it for you. And instead of talking to him and being like, hey, do you want to try this? Like, is it just like an involuntary issue that we can address? Instead of doing that, she like puts it in his beer when they're out.
Two.
My God, I forgot about that too. She overdoses him on Viagra without his permission in public.
Yeah. And that's the other thing. Why are you doing that in public? Who wants to walk out of the restaurant with their husband having a giant boner?
I mean, maybe she's a braggart, you know?
I just don't understand.
No, the whole plan was a mess.
Any of that.
Whole plan was a mess, and it was a huge breach of trust and a giant betrayal, and it was not okay. Not okay.
Yeah.
And I love that he treats it that way from start to finish. He's just like, this is awful. You should not have done this to me. Never in a million years would I do this to you.
Yeah.
Then she's trying to give him a handy on the way home while he's driving.
I know.
What is going on? Did you lose your mind, Mary Steenburgen?
That was crazy.
Holy shit.
And then like it gets pulled over.
Yeah.
And the cop like is on her side.
Yeah.
And winks at her. I'm like, no. That's
she
wrong.
just admitted to drugging him without his consent. And you're like, cool, go have fun,
a good
girl
night.
time. Ew. Lady
That's
cop,
a no-no.
you need to go.
Yeah,
God.
that's a no-no.
Anyway, so this is when he finally blows up and he's just like, you know, you did this dance class bullshit for you. And like, you don't give a shit about me. And she's like, well, you don't want to listen to me or have any, you know,
Dude gave me
time
this
with
stupid
me.
earplug, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. And so he does knock that boner on a wall trying to turn around.
And it's
that
loud.
was great.
It's loud. And I was like, wow.
Yeah, the sound guys did a great job adding that.
Yeah.
That's great stuff. And she wakes up later, he's not in bed. And so she comes downstairs and she's like, I did a bad. I did a big bad on you. I shouldn't have done it. And I realize that now. And I should have just talked to you. And like, you don't have to do the talent show with me. And this is when he admits that he's been really freaked out since his retirement party.
Yeah.
And he's sort of been like avoiding everything as a result, including the way their relationship might change depending on, you know, the new stage of life. So anyway, that's really sweet. And then she goes to do the talent show by herself, which like, I have so many questions about this dance number.
Oh yeah. Well, wait a minute. Before we get to the dance number, so they go to Jane Fonda's room to get her for the talent show. And she's past the only time she looks horrible in this whole movie. And even then, she's still looking pretty good. She's passed out on the bed because she told Don Johnson, be gone.
Yeah.
Secretly sad. And so they show up and she's like, and he told me that he wanted me to be his person and spend the rest of his life with me. Blah, blah, blah. And her friends are like, so he said he didn't want to change you and that you were the best thing ever and he wanted to be with you forever. Have you lost your mind?
And you let him go to the airport? Like you have to go get him.
And they do the whole dress sequence with her and they're like, put on something sexy. And she's like, everything she owns is sexy. It's like Jane Fonda's having a mini freak out. She's like, he hasn't seen me naked in 40 years. And she's like freaking out. And then Murphy Brown just slaps her right in the face.
Yes. Oh
like,
my God.
But it had to be done.
It had to be done, says the federal judge. Loved it.
Yes.
Loved
so they
it.
send her off to find Arthur or Don Johnson. I think his name's Arthur.
I think his name might be Arthur. Yeah.
And so then the rest of them go to the talent show.
Oh my God. Okay. So she's supposed to be doing her like 6th grade tap dance routine or something.
Which I thought was weird anyway.
That is a weird, okay. There are many things that would be weird about this if that is actually the premise. And I think it is. Because so she's going to do that. It's supposed to be like rock around the block or something. I don't fucking know.
Red Robin goes bob, bob, bobbin.
There we go. And instead, Meatloaf's I Would Do Anything for Love, but I Won't Do That comes on. And
Which
like,
is awesome.
what a fucking classic. God, I don't care what anybody says. I will fight you. That song is great.
It's a good jam.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make any sense because that wasn't the song that she was going to dance to with Coach.
No.
It wasn't the song she was.
No, it's just appropriate to like the relationship issues she's having right now. But also, so she's doing this tap routine, right? And then she does like a sexy, I'm going to take off my elbow length gloves. And I was like, so did you do that when you were a child? Also, this is a benefit she's putting on for work. So like you're doing a technical striptease at work.
Yeah.
And like all of it is just
it's bizarre.
Yeah.
It's bizarre.
Anyway, Coach comes just flying out of that audience.
He's still got his little motorcycle helmet on because he rode his motorcycle there.
He takes off his leather jacket and underneath is the red shirt he was going to wear to match her for their Roomba or whatever they were going to do.
Whatever they were doing.
Oh, and then they do a dance together and it's so sweet and it's so good. And like, they're back and better than ever, these two.
Oh, I know. And I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it got me right in the heart parts when Coach showed up. I mean, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. Coach understands romance. Like that is a giant romance.
That's a big romance.
And then Jane Fonda misses him at the airport and she's devastated. So she comes back to her room, I think, right? Is it a room? Is it the roof?
That rooftop paradise of her own that has her little chair there. That's her like solitude place or whatever. That's
the one. Yeah. So he goes to her fortress of solitude and she walks in and she's like, oh my gosh, Don Johnson, what are you doing here? I thought you left. And he's like, I did. But now we're going to be together forever.
Mm-hmm.
It's
so sweet. And he's like, I thought I wanted to give you back your penny, the penny that he got out of the fountain for her. And she's like, well, thank you. Because I've tried to live without it for the last 40 years and it didn't work that well. I was like, oh, I love you too.
Jane Fonda, how dare you?
Oh, they're so good.
They're so good. And so they do a makeout and it's a wedding makeout, basically.
Yeah,
as far as I'm concerned.
Mm-hmm. They got married on that rooftop right then and there.
Right then and there. Yeah. Then they probably consummated it right there. Who knows?
That I definitely think happened. Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. This is such a fun movie. And like the lady love in it is so beautiful. And the way that they support each other and they're just like friends in the world.
I know.
It's so nice.
And it's so nice just that was the main focus of it. I mean, it was still a romance, but like the guy characters, they were secondary to like the relationship and just the love and support that the four female leads gave to each other. Mm-hmm. And I can't wait for the second one to come out. That's going to be so good.
Yeah. That's really, I forgot they were doing that. That's neat.
Because like I think they're filming it in Italy, so God only knows what that's going to involve.
There's going to be a Tuscan villa somewhere in there.
You know that. And that's his second home.
Oh my gosh, what a treat! Do you have a lady love?
I do have a lady love. I have like one that is very basic and one that's a little better. So my basic lady love is a Jura coffee maker. I was lucky enough to officiate my best friend's wedding over Memorial Day weekend.
Fun.
And they were so sweet. They gave, obviously I didn't expect them to give me anything for doing that, but they gave me a very fancy coffee maker.
Nice.
And I'm going to tell you, I thought Keurig was fine until I had one of those. So it's kind of my jam now. I can make myself a flat white every morning. And
that's lovely.
That's the ticket. That's the ticket. But my serious lady love is really just what this movie I think is about. And that's just all my girlfriends who have been just absolutely so supportive of me, from the jump. I mean, they are trying to get, I think they'd stop people in the grocery store and tell them to buy my book. And they have just been so uniquely supportive in every way and are just so genuinely excited for me. And, I'm just so lucky to have that group of people in my corner. So they're my lady. My ladies are my lady love, I guess you could say.
Oh, your ladies are your lady love. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. What is my lady love? You know what? My lady love is kind of specific, but not really. And that's paint a ceiling yellow and get the loudest rug you've ever seen in your life. Get the most fluorescent rainbow rug you've ever seen in your life, or whatever your version of that is.
Oh,
because
absolutely.
I love like this house already so much. I mean, and I loved my old house. Like I loved it. But the fact that like I'm putting my stamp on this one a bit more, and just being my ridiculous self in it is very
I completely
fun.
understand. We just built a house. We finished our house the February of 2020. So we moved in literally 2 weeks before COVID hit. Whoa. And we worked on the plans for probably 3 years and just like made it, our stamp is all over this place.
Whoa.
And it's like my office is like my own little corner of weird in my house too. So, I mean, there's, RBG quotes everywhere. There's Liz Taylor quotes in here. I mean, it's just, it's my spot. So I get it. Yeah. Putting your stamp on something is very important.
Yeah, absolutely. And Michael is being very understanding about the whole thing because he is a bit more of a subdued decorator. And he's really rolling with it beautifully.
We have in our dining room, we have a teal leopard print rug. So
nice. There we go. I like it. All right. EF, where can they find you?
Well, I'm on Facebook, but I couldn't even tell you what it is. I'm pretty sure it's at EF Dodd Writes, but I'm not.
Well, I'll link it in the show notes too.
Yeah. Instagram is the best. And that's just at e.f.dodd. And I usually am pretty active on there. And then my website is efdoddwrites.com. And email is efdoddwrites@gmail.com. And I'm happy to hear from anybody.
Yay. Awesome. So Risky Restoration is out, and Earning It is going to be out tomorrow, I think, when they hear this.
Yes, August 23rd. Yes. So it's very exciting.
Yeah, it's really, really exciting. All right. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you. I appreciate it. This was awesome.
Yeah, super fun.
Yeah.
All right. We need to keep being the badass. Oh, no. Keep being a badass and love yourself.
As much as Don Johnson loves Jane Fonda's boots in this movie.
Oh my God. Yes. Keep being a badass and love yourself as much as Don Johnson loves Jane Fonda's boots. That's perfect.
There we go.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Hey, you. Yes, listener, you. Are you loving the show? If so, please leave a rating and review in your podcast app. The 90 seconds you take to say something nice not only helps new people find the show, but it makes me super smile over at HBHQ. Also, I've had a few people ask, and the answer is yes. We are still doing the 5-star bribe. If you leave us a review with 5 stars, then we'll do whatever book you want. We're real deep into the list though, so it might be a while. Lilas! Okay, back to the show.